You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
All right, let's move to this now. The South African Human Rights Commission says that it's launched an investigation into allegations of racism against Sports, Arts and Culture Minister Gayton McKenzie after he allegedly used derogatory language to refer to black people. This is now decades ago. The commission says it believes there is prima facie evidence that the minister has violated the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act. So over the weekend, the commission received several complaints against McKenzie for these old social media posts that resurfaced after he had indicated he would sue the podcasters for displaying remarks made against colored people. So the Human Rights Commission has now sent an allegation letter to McKenzie before determining its next course of action. And I'm interested in your thoughts here as well. Should the Human Rights Commission really go after him? Do you think he has violated the Promotion of Equality and Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act? Your thoughts on 011-883-0702, WhatsApp's on 072-7021-702. Tshepo Madlingozi is the commissioner at the Human Rights Commission, joining us on the line. Thank you so much for making time for us, Commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners. Thank you for having us.
So what exactly is an allegation letter, and what happens once you've sent it?
Yes, I can confirm that we have sent an urgent allegation letter to the minister. We've given the minister not later than the 20th of August, this week, Wednesday, to respond to the allegation letter. Basically, what we did is that over the course of the week, we received a number of complaints from members of the public, from NGOs, but also from political parties who brought this post to our attention, videos and utterances, saying that they were harmful, they were offensive. What we do then is to assess those utterances and those posts against the Equality Act, the Promotion of Equality and the Prevention of Unfair Discrimination Act. We look at constitutional court judgments and court jurisprudence, and we have arrived at the determination that the utterances and the post do constitute prima facie violation of Section 10 and Section 11 of the Equality Act. So what happens next is for the minister not later than the 20th of August respond to the allegation letter and to abide by the request that we make. We set out 5 requests in the letter.
Yeah. What makes you believe that there is a prima facie case against the minister? So when you look at these old tweets and what he has said, how confident are you that there is possibly a case here?
Yes, as I said, there are 2 sets of complaints. Just to clarify, one has to do with the use of the K word. The other one has to do with alleged xenophobic statements as far as Section 11 of the Equality Act, harassment. So with regards to the K word, the courts have been very clear. It's not even controversial that, to quote the Constitutional Court, the use of the K word is unutterable. None of us can use the K word in political speech as hyperbole, as satire, as a joke. We are not allowed to do that. The courts have said this is one of the most demeaning slurs that have been, used to demean black people in South Africa. The second thing to bear in mind is that the offenses under the Equality Act do not prescribe. So as long as the posts are there, the harm continues. That's why the first request that we make to the minister, or the first demand, is for the minister to delete those posts and delete the posts that are under his control from all the platforms. Secondly, we are asking the minister to make an unconditional apology in the terms to be agreed with the Human Rights Commission. The third demand or request is that the minister makes a written undertaking to refrain from using this language in future, to undergo sensitivity training, and to pay damages. So that's what we do. We look at Constitutional Court judgments, we look at court jurisprudence, and we also look at our own previous determination. You will recall that there was an issue with Mr. Host, the former MP, where it was a similar matter where old video resurfaced and we came to a determination that it was a prima facie violation, and we end up having a settlement with Mr. Hose.
Yeah, with Mr. Hose, I remember that. Don't we have other examples here that sort of help us see where this matter might go? I think, how different is this to like what happened with Adam Katsavelos, for instance, because he used the K word, sanctioned for that. Was it Vicky Mombek as well who also was involved?
Yes. So those three cases also that were dealt swiftly by the Human Rights Commission. In both cases, the two individuals did reach a settlement with the Human Rights Commission. But also in the labor courts, there have been instances where, for example, the courts have said, even if the word is used by a black person to another black person, that there's no excuse for that. So the courts have been very clear. We ourselves have been very, very clear about this. We can also make an analogy with the display of the apartheid flag, where the court said, the display of the apartheid flag is prohibited. It is offensive, and it's not about your intention. It's about how it will be reasonably construed by the offended group or parties.
Unless, of course, it's used in an academic setup where there's an explanation or you're teaching people about like the history of the country. Okay, I'm glad you touched on the issue of what the court said around even black people who use this word, because as you have seen, the debate, people have been divided on whether or not the minister can even be racist just because he's black. I mean, that's an ongoing debate in the country around whether or not, black people can be racist, which is a separate argument that we've debated before, or whether they can be prejudicial. What do you say to that? Because from the video I've seen of the minister when he was trying to explain his remarks, he was trying to suggest that, but how could I be black when, I think one of his parents is, fully, I think he said so, black. Well, how do you respond to an argument like that? How do you explain that to South Africans listening to us who are thinking, but should it really matter what's the color of your skin, or does it matter why you're using a word like this?
Yeah, no, that's an important question, and we should use this moment pedagogically. For the past 20 years, I've been a academic of critical race theory, so I understand the debate about whether black people can be racist or not. That's not of interest to us. We don't use the word racist or not. We are asking the question, has the statements reached the threshold of hate speech? It's not about whether you are racist or not. The question is whether these utterances meet the definition of hate speech. You'll recall the incident that happened in December in about a flight where we are taking that individual to court for saying things about colored people. That person was black. You'll recall the intervention that we had with Mr. Baloyi, so-called Nota Baloyi, where he had said things about white people, and we reached a determination that it was hate speech. So it is not about being racist or not. That is not the determination that we make. What the definition in terms of Section 10 of the Equality Act says is words that are abusive or threatening, that seek to demean a group of people based on either social origin or race and so forth. So that's where we are. It's not about whether you are racist or not. It's whether your utterances meet the threshold of hate speech.
Yeah. So I'm going to come to his apology in a moment and how that changes things, because he does apologize but doesn't really apologize for everything else. Didn't he claim that there was also AI used to generate some of the tweets? I think that's part of the claim that he's made. But before I get to that, there's a question here from our listener who says, Clement, please ask this commissioner from the Human Rights Commission, why didn't they just go straight to court? Because they already have evidence. Why didn't they send this letter of an allegation letter to, let's say, Penny, for instance, or other people that used the K word? Why not a court order to appear or go through that process as opposed to start with an allegation letter? So I suppose the question there, Commissioner, is this the process you have followed, even with the previous cases where evidence was clear?
Yes, the reason why we send an allegation letter is to ensure that we can reach the same conclusion that we've received in court without going to court. We don't want to go to court, waste resources if we can arrive at the same determination. I'll give you the example of Mr. Baloyi or even Mr. Hose. The prayers that we have made to court are the same prayers that we obtained via an alternative dispute resolution mechanism, meaning through mediation and settlement. So the same prayers that we are making in the letter to the Honorable Minister are the same prayers that we have made to court. Therefore, for us, it's about how do we obtain the same remedies in a swift way without going to court. So it is all about that. The minister has two choices. One, the minister can abide by our request, and that becomes our settlement. The minister can reject or dispute the allegation letter, then we'll have no choice to go to court. When we go to court, we'll still make those 5 prayers, but we'll add another one, just one prayer, which is that the court must declare that indeed this was hate speech or harassment. So we've made a determination from our side that this is prima facie harassment and hate speech. We have made 5 requests, and we think that if we can obtain the same remedies via an alternative dispute resolution mechanism, then, we will have achieved what we seek to achieve.
Okay, let's go to some WhatsApps that have come through.
Clemmy, môre man, Floris is so van die Weskaap. Clemmy, I was one of those who stood behind McKenzie when he wanted to take up those podcasters, and here he is guilty of it himself. And I heard that he claims now all of a sudden that his mom or dad is a black African. But still, what's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. No, he really then needs to step down. I am sorry. I'm a person of color. I will never call someone the K word, and I don't want someone to call me anything that I don't like. Have a good show. Bye-bye.
There's a very interesting discussion about whether it's being racist or hate speech, and this person saying that it's not about whether it's being racist, it's more about being hate speech and utterances against certain groupings and so on. And kill the boer, kill the farmer falls 100% squarely within the definition or issue he is highlighting. So I just don't quite understand how some things are allowed but other things are frowned upon, and the principle is exactly the same. It's just not right.
Yeah, and of course, there was already a court case around that song that has already resolved on it. But I get your question there. So, Tshepo, you can respond to, if you want, any of these comments that have been made, and then you can also give me your response to the apology that we've seen so far from the minister. He apologizes for some of the tweets, but he says not for all of them. So I suppose, then there must still be a questioning here. So it's not that, okay, he's apologized, so there's accountability, he'll pay 100,000 rand or whatever, let's move on.
Yeah, no, to the first question, we don't litigate matters in the public, so we've not been listening or engaging with ourselves with what the minister has been saying, because we don't litigate matters in the public. We send a clear letter, and we expect all respondents to engage with us, not in the public, but via the channels as per our South African Human Rights Commission Act of 2013. So we are not interested in what has been said publicly by the minister or people who have brought these complaints to us. We will wait to hear what the minister said, and we will take it from there. The chant, yes, you are quite right that the Constitutional Court and the Supreme Court of Appeal has ruled on this. So it is out of our hands at the South African Human Rights Commission. Personally, I've got I hold a different view about the utility of this chant in today's South Africa, but the courts have ruled differently. There is nothing that we can do. It is not true that the Human Rights Commission is not doing anything about this. All we can do is to refer people to the Constitutional Court's judgment. We can't do anything about that. With regard to the apology, what we seek is an unconditional apology, an apology that acknowledges the harm, an apology that undertakes to refrain from making similar statements in the future. Clement, all of us are learning in this new democracy of ours. The courts are also learning. The courts, the matters go on appeal, they get rejected and they get overturned, and then the Constitutional Court makes a final determination. So all of us are learning. So all of us can say, yes, we've used this word in the past, we did not know. So all we ask is people to, where there are complaints, to acknowledge the complaints, to apologize, to delete. And that's why in the request to the minister, we've also said the minister must undergo a diversity and sensitivity training. So as I said, we don't engage with what the minister or other people have said in public. We don't litigate in public. The apology will have to be an apology that is agreed upon with the Human Rights Commission.
Tshepo Madlingozi, thank you so much for speaking to us. He's a commissioner at the Human Rights Commission.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.